Hello, I'm Michael Isco. I'm here with Ben Engel, playwright, to discuss his fourth play to be presented here at the Emmanuel Synagogue. His previous plays, Jacob and Esau, Rabbi of the Stars, and Philosopher King, were plays about ancient Jewish history. Now, he's now presenting a play that brings us more up to date. So Ben, your other plays have been about ancient history. How is it different to write about modern history?
Well, thank you, Mike, for doing this for us. And thank you for being in some of those plays, including our upcoming play, Havdalah Separation. Writing about modern history poses some challenges that you don't find writing about ancient history. One of them is that there's just a whole lot more known about what has gone on in modern times, what people have said, what their relationships were with each other, than you did about ancient history. I have a late friend, who knew a lot about the ancient classics of literature, who would say, laughingly, that the nice thing about studying the classics is there's so much room for creativity. And you do find this out when you are writing plays on ancient history. You don't have a lot of material. You have a few quotes here and there in the Bible and other sources, the Talmud, and they give you a jumping off point. But you don't have full information, and of course, there wasn't a lot else being written about what was going on in ancient times. You had to sort of take what was there and work with it. Modern history is something else entirely. There's a lot that has been written, and so you don't want, which is an advantage in a way. It gives you much more of an insight into the thoughts of people, the actions of people, but there's also a much greater chance of omitting something. You know, I'm not a scholar of this period, and so I could easily overlook something. But hopefully with enough reading, that's not a problem. But the other thing is that the closer you are in time, and now I've written about people who are, lived 200 years ago instead of 2,000 years ago. And there are living descendants, believe it or not, of some of the people who are in the play, depicted in the play. Not that I'm afraid any of them are going to come and complain, but you sort of do feel a pressure not to put anything that's too far off in someone's mouth. And the other thing is, writing about modern history, I absolutely felt no rationale for using any rhyming or any metering of the verse or of the dialogue. I did it in the ancient history plays because I felt it helped create a mood, create some distance between people today and people 2,000 years ago. But in the case of modern history, people don't really talk that way, and we know that, and so there was no need for that.
How did you get interested in this particular encounter with modern history?
Well, I think we all feel some concern, some interest, perhaps is a better way to put it, in how our religion squares with rationality, with common sense, with reason. It's just something that everybody thinks about, probably no matter what religion they belong to. You sort of want to feel that the things you're doing, the things you believe, comport with your ideas of what makes sense, what is consistent with rational behavior. And Judaism has been studied in attempts to show that it is a religion of reason. Well, these questions sort of were asked in a big way in the time that I am writing about. It was the time of the Enlightenment in Europe. It was the time of the Jewish Enlightenment. There was a lot of concern about showing that Judaism the tenets of Judaism and the actions that Judaism asks of us are rational and are a part of any religion based on reason. So, you know, I don't think I'm any different than anybody else who thinks about this. In reading about it, trying to find out what I could about the relationship of Judaism and reason, you run across frequent references to this period of time and what was being written and what was being done and what was being said. So I started looking into it more deeply, and I found a very compelling story to tell.
And, you know, this is the story about Felix Mendelssohn and his parents, which certainly reflects the conflict and changes that were going on during the Jewish Reformation. And, you know, and part of it is, how did you get interested in the music of Felix Mendelssohn?